Saeed with Mardu Pyromancer against Ryan Bennett playing Affinity. Both these players 4-1. Bennett currently up a game. Game number 2 going to be on the way here in just a moment as players will be given the green light.
So fundamentally, Zan Saeed's deck is beating down. He does have 4 copies of Monastery Swiftspear. It's Mardu. It has kind of a spells matter sub-theme, and 4x Bedlam Reveler is the big payoff.
Okay.
So try to play just lean, efficient Magic and use Bedlam Reveler to bury your opponent.
And regas up.
Yeah.
Do your thing. A Blink Moth Nexus into a Springleaf Drum. It's a slow start here for the Affinity player as we go back over to Zan. Young Pyromancer the draw. Sacred Foundry right on the battlefield untapped. In comes Swiftspear. Follow-up. Young Pyromancer. We'll go back over to Ryan Bennett. Picked up a Gear Pow Aether Grid, which looks to be a pretty darn good card in this matchup. That's a Steel Overseer. This is a Galvanic Blast. It's going to take care of Young Pyromancer.
Good looking turn.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, I think it's going to be really hard for Saeed to hang with Gear Pow Aether Grid.
The grid is going to be really tough.
Just so much 1 and 2 toughness.
Here comes Swiftspear. It's a 2-3 now because of the Dreadbore. And Zaid will just simply pass the turn back, so we'll go over to Bennett. See what the land is going to be here this turn. You see, not an explosive Affinity start for Bennett. No Memnites, Ornithopter Signal, Pest, Vault Scourges with Cranial Platings, any of that stuff. It's much slower. But we're in a sideboarded game, too, where Affinity does generally kind of slow down. As here's the grid. Spire of Industry helping to cast that, so Bennett will take 1. And only 1 artifact on the battlefield right now. Of course, the Blink Moth and Nith Moth Nexus can turn into artifacts, but this is going to only get more difficult here for Zan. Though I do think he just picked up a copy of Wear Tear, which is really important.
But I just don't know if he's going to have the luxury here of waiting to get to 3 mana.
To be able to fuse it together. Here is Faithless Looting. That's going to resolve. 1 is a Fatal Push. 2 is a Mountain.
So I suppose you can just discard 2 cards here, play your 3rd land, and hope to fire off a really good Wear Tear next turn. So I guess you're feeling it's unlikely that Bennett's gonna be able to generate enough artifacts to activate the Gear Pow Aether Grid next turn for 2 to knock out your Swiftspear.
That'd be a little surprising.
And then next turn you get to fuse the Wear Tear and you're in pretty good shape.
See a couple copies of Young Pyromancer right now in Saeed's hand.
I guess alternatively you could pitch the land and just get the Gear Pow Aether Grid off the table now. Or not do anything, I suppose you can just wait. Because you might want Shatter more than Demystify.
Yeah, fair. Well, that answers that. That's going to take care of the grid. That means that Swiftspear is going to be a 3-power creature. And Bennett's going to fall down to 12. Let's go over to Bennett. Darksteel Citadel. Hand's not great here for Ryan.
Yeah, light on payoffs.
He does have Cranial Plating, which is certainly nice, but very rarely bad. There's Spellskite. That's a card we don't see that much in Modern anymore. Now there is Galvanic Blast to take care of the Swiftspear, so we're going to go over to Zan yet again. Path to Exile in hand. Young Pyromancer still over there. And so here is Young Pyromancer.
I mean, this is a good setup for Zaid. You know, if he can get to Lingering Souls, then he's got the Nexuses checked, and then he's kind of in the driver's seat.
One thing we know, Affinity has a real tough time with Lingering Souls. That we know for sure. Ink Moth looks like it might get fired up here. And there's a Blink Moth. So Cranial Plating is going to be equipped to Ink Moth Nexus. And I believe these lands will be turned on. This should be a pretty healthy attack. Don't think it's lethal.
Yeah, I think it's in the neighborhood of 6 or 7 right now. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Oh, 6, excuse me. Plus it's 1 power.
Yeah. You see players are counting up just to make sure they're on the same page because some artifact. Like I said, Nexus may have been activated, so you just want to make sure about that. Do have the opportunity to activate another Nexus here via the Spellskite plus Springleaf Drum, if Bennett would like to do that. And it looks like he will.
But the leftovers here are pretty good for Zahid. He either gets the 3 lands next turn and he can get the Lingering Souls, or he has Path plus Fatal Push.
And there's land 3. So does he want to go towards Lingering Souls? Or does he want to go towards Path plus Push? Because there are ways for him to lose this game if he just goes to Lingering Souls. Grid ends up being a real problem, but maybe Grid's always just going to be a problem.
Yeah. You know, you're just kind of up against it next turn if you play 2 removal spells, because Bennett just goes, okay, put a plating on another Nexus, and your life total is not all that high. So I think I would start with Lingering Souls here, because once you have Lingering Souls and you have the tokens in play, then your removal at instant speed is great if things happen to come up. I think you got to do this first.
It is also worth noting, too, Lingering Souls, you know, if you get to play it for 2 mana on the flashback, lets you keep a removal spell up.
Right.
Stuff like that.
And it still might be better to play 2 more tokens the next turn than it would be to cast your removal spells. So
Lingering Souls is actually going to yield 3 tokens, 2 Spirit tokens, and then 1 from the Young Pyromancer. There's your Dylan Donegan Elemental token. So where do we go now for Ryan Bennett? Trying to slog through is tough, but Inkmoth Nexus can attack with the help of old Blinkmoth Nexus to pump it up. So that's what we're going to see here. Inkmoth Nexus is able to take care of 1 spirit. Now Vault Scourge, actually, the draw here for Ryan Bennett. I do think you're in the spot if you're Bennett. Just every card that you draw, you're just going to play.
yeah, not allowed to be gained by holding back.
So he'll play Vault Scourge, pay 2 life to do it, and now equip Cranial Plating to the Vault Scourge and pass the turn back as Bennett falls down to 8. Saeed at 18, maybe more importantly, he's at 8. In fact, 2 to go there for Ryan Bennett to win the game and the match. So you head back over to Zan. We know he's got Lingering Souls in the graveyard, Fatal Push, and Path to Exile in hand. And he's just trying to stabilize. We'll see if Spellskite ever does gum up the works here a little bit, too. A card that we don't see nearly as much in Modern as we used to maybe 2 years ago.
It comes up a little bit insofar as if Zaid decides to flash back the Lingering Souls, then he doesn't have access to a removal spell on a Nexus inside of combat. He does have 2 removal spells. He can plow through the Spellskite if he really needs to, but it's a little prohibitive this exact turn. The next turn, when he's got all of his mana available and multiple removal spells, I don't think it changes very much.
Path to Exile going to take care of the Vault Scourge. That'll work. So Ryan will get to search up a basic land, assuming he has any. And he does have 1 basic mountain in his deck. So there that is. And it looks like Zan might be getting a little aggressive here. I mean, at the end of the day, Bennett is only at 8. This attack looks like it's going to bring him to 4.
Yeah, I was not a big fan last turn of tapping the Spellskite and paying 2 life to put a Cranial Plating on the Vault Scourge. It doesn't hold off any of the attackers. And the odds that Zaid has a turn like this, where you're just down a blocker and the Vault Scourge didn't do anything,
makes it bad news then.
Yeah, I mean, you know, you're basically down 4 points, 2 from the Phyrexian mana you spent, and 2 because the Spellskite wasn't back on D to block a Young Pyromancer.
Lingering Souls coming back from the graveyard means that more tokens have been made, 2 spirits, and then 2 elemental tokens have come back as well. Thanks to the Path and the Lingering Souls. So if you're Bennett, I'm not sure how you're getting through this token army. think that's the biggest issue here now for Ryan. Again, it is a situation where maybe Gear Pile Aether Grid is still good here. But this is only getting more difficult. He's only got one more grid to draw to.
So at the minimum, he needs to come up with 4 blockers.
Yeah, at the min. Pretty tough, right?
Yeah.
Right now he's got 1. Looks like he's got 3 available.
Yep.
Well, Darksteel Citadel isn't great.
No, he's got 4. He's got 3 Nexus.
Yeah, one of those lands is a Springleaf Drum, though. That's back there. 1, 2, 3. Okay, yeah, he can fire up them all. Okay.
But yeah, Zaid's just drawn a Swift Spear, so
that makes it pretty easy then, now, doesn't it? Swift Spear is a creature with haste, and we can't forget about the Fatal Push that's in hand that'll remove a blocker. And I think he's actually got a path, too. So in a minute here, we'll be heading to that 3rd game, as here comes Path to Exile, targeting old Spellskite. And I think Ryan is thinking it's time to pick up all my lands here in just a moment, assuming that Zan does attack with all of his creatures. And Zan's seeing which ones he can and cannot attack with, and he can attack with the majority of them. So in come the Knuckleheads. And he might play things a little bit safer, even though Ryan Ryan has 0 cards in his hand, so he can get in there with everybody pretty confidently here. Smart not to overthink it, but you do want to make sure that you get the game over with, and there is the attack with all the creatures. Biggest creatures are Swift Spear, Young Pyromancer, and then any of those tokens. He's got 3 blockers to a lot more attackers. So
you're dead.
Yeah, you can activate them all.
You're dead.
But you are dead.
You're dead. You're dead.
It's still the You're Dead. That's the You're Dead song.
Okay.
That's your newest single,
Game 3.
Yeah.
That's not the song. That's just the hook.
It's the hook?
That's
hook. What gets him in the door. I gotcha. Zan Said, Ryan Bennett. They'll be going to game number 3 here in just a moment between Mardu Pyromancer and Affinity. Interesting little Mardu Pyromancer deck here. It's a deck that's really, I mean, we don't see this really at all in Modern, kind of based around Young Pyromancer as the weapon of choice here, I would say.
And really loaded up on cheap removal, and I'm sure that's largely to fight Grixis Death Shadow.
I would think so. I mean, you got Path and Push here.
Yep.
Do a nice job against that
Terminate.
deck. That too.
Dread Boar.
Oh, hey. Okay, that takes care of the Planeswalkers and every other creature. So,
yeah.
Okay. Dread Boar card you don't see very much in Modern either.
1 copy. Claim to Fame.
New one.
New one.
New, but a good one. Hasn't seen as much play as I thought it would, but I think we'll get around to Claim to Fame. We'll get around to game number 3 of this matchup here in moment 2 as these players do sideboard. But as we've mentioned, and we're going to mention quite a bit here, Grand Prix Atlanta is the next Grand Prix that Star City Games is hosting. We just finished DC. We'll be going to the ATL, the Georgia World Congress Center, and we've got all the details from Star City's own Jeremy Knoll right now.
On November 10th through the 12th, make plans to be part of Magic the Gathering history when StarCityGames.com proudly presents Grand Prix Atlanta. Register by Sunday, October 15th for the standard format main event to compete for thousands of dollars in prizes and receive an exclusive playmat featuring Sun-Blessed Mount. Select the 3-day Infinite Challenge package to compete in all challenge events for one low price, while also walking away with the exclusive Sun-Blessed Mount playmat. All Friday challenges are also Grand Prix trials. Come out early and compete for buys in the main event and more chances to claim a Sun-Blessed Mount playmat. Prefer 100-card formats? Register for the Ultimate Commander package to play in 4 Commander on-demand events and take home a Commander vs. playmat and Ultimate Guard Boulder deck case. Want to play on Magic's grandest stage? Compete in the Pro Tour qualifier on Sunday and receive a Progenitus foil promo just for playing, plus the chance for an invitation to Pro Tour Rivals of Ixalan in Bilbao, Spain. And don't forget to come say hello to Grand Prix Atlanta's many special guests, including cosplayer Christine Sprankle and an artist alley full of fan favorites, headlined by guest of honor Therese Nielsen. Be part of Magic the Gathering history. Register for Grand Prix Atlanta today.
November 10th through the 12th, be a part of Magic the Gathering history as Star City Games host Grand Prix Atlanta. StarCityGames.com/GP Atlanta for more information. Should be a fun little standard tournament there. Now, Patrick, your favorite bagel, if memory serves, is the everything bagel.
I pivoted a little bit.
Ooh. Do tell.
Been having more onion bagels lately.
You still a fan of the everything bagel?
I mix it in the rotation. It's not. I'm not as all in as I used to be.
Would you ever try Lay's kettle cooked everything bagel potato chips?
No.
Don't think those would do it for you?
No, I would just get bagel chips if I wanted to do that. They're delicious.
Bagel chips are a thing?
Yeah.
Never heard that before.
It must be predominantly a New York, New Jersey kind of thing.
Okay.
So they were really present in my childhood. And close to where I live, there's a New York style deli called Rosenberg's in Denver.
Okay.
They sell them there too. So, and they're really trying to lean into the, we're a New York style deli.
That territory. Take
Right.
care of that for you in
Even though
Denver.
they call it Taylor ham instead of pork roll.
I don't even know. I don't even know what you just said.
Oh, that's a contentious, vernacular thing.
Taylor ham?
Whether it's called Taylor ham or pork roll.
What, or pork roll?
Yes.
What are these things?
It's a type of very, very salty and horrible for you but delicious type of breakfast sandwich.
Okay.
And depending on where in New Jersey and New York you grow up, you call it Taylor ham or pork roll.
Okay. I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Taylor ham or pork roll?
Yeah.
What side of the camp are you on here?
Pork roll.
It's just a pork roll for you?
Yeah.
Okay.
But anywho, I would just do that if I wanted to have the bagel as a potato chip experience.
Just get a bagel chip.
Yeah, bagel chip.
And Lay's has really moved into this market of,
Novelty food items.
yeah, that all look disgusting.
Yeah.
So.
Taco Bell really started to redefine what was possible in the open quotation food, close quotation genre. And it would stand to reason that other brands would try to hop into that space.
Hey, there's a market for everything, right?
Disrupting the food industry by making things that are only barely legally called food.
Hey, once you try a Dorito Loco taco, I've heard they're delicious. I'm not ready to take that step yet, but I've heard they're really good. So, looks like Zan going to take a mulligan here while Ryan is good to go.
The time of my life where that would have been an option at 3 a.m. has passed.
Yeah, you're not up then.
I'm just not up.
You're all done then.
Well, I am up sometimes now, but because my day has started, not because my day has yet to end. It's a little different.
Dude, that's just that parenting life right there.
Right. So I wouldn't know. But I've heard.
So maybe I would see you up at 3 a.m. finishing off a Magic Online Sealed League.
Right.
Not anymore. Not anymore.
I occasionally still get in. The leagues are really good for my schedule. And I'm thinking about buying back into Modern, so, I can be lava spiking in the mornings.
You can do that anytime. You can do that anytime. That's easy. I am curious the people's opinion at home. I'm taking a look here at Lay's various flavors of potato chips. Southern biscuits and gravy.
Oh,
There's no way that's good.
that is so bad.
They also have cheesy garlic bread flavored potato chips.
But garlic is a flavor of potato chips that already exists that is not that bad, right?
I'm not much of a potato chip guy, but I'm sure that there are some people that are out there. Lemon potato chips? Those cannot be good.
A corollary to the theory all opinions are held is all food is eaten. Whatever you make, there is a market for it.
Someone will eat it?
Yeah.
I do think I'm taking a look at the BLT flavored potato chips. Those I might try those. BLT, one of my favorite sandwiches. A great standby sandwich.
Yeah, the thing is,
super safe.
Yes.
I had a BLT for dinner yesterday. It was perfectly average.
Yeah.
Ryan Bennett has an Arcbound Ravager. And we'll see how long it lives. Because I think Zan's hand is pretty removal heavy. I see at least a Collective Brutality over there. There's also a Lightning Bolt. Monastery Swiftspear 2. And he's going to sacrifice a Bloodstained Mire. He'll get a basic Mountain. There's a bolt on Ornithopter.
This is a tough way to do it. I've been here. I've been here, you know, playing not exactly a Mardu Pyromancer deck, but this style of deck against Affinity. And when you have to point your premium removal at the sort of redundant filler cards, it makes it really hard to win a late game. Fortunately for Saeed, he has Lingering Souls in his deck. That's a way to play catch up. But my win rate in games where I've had to bolt Ornithopter on turn 1 after I mulliganed,
It's not high.
Really low.
Yeah.
Really low.
Just can't be high. Here's Collective Brutality. Will Saeed escalate it? That's the question. The answer is no. So he'll just give Arcbound Ravager -2/-2, which works just fine. And now we're going to head back over to Ryan Bennett. He'll draw. Now he's got the grid again. And I think he may have a Steel Overseer too. And he's going to go to the Steel Overseer, pass the turn back. So we'll go over to Zan Saeed. He'll draw a card. He's picked up a Zealous Persecution. Jeez. Now he can't cast that one, but his deck is just full of all sorts of goodies here.
But I've never been a fan of trying to beat Affinity with just a lot of 2-mana removal spells. They typically play a game much too efficient for that. Especially when you're taking damage off your own lands and you can't always cast everything because of your color mana situation. It's all little things, but when you're playing against Affinity, which is just a ruthlessly efficient deck, you feel all of it.
Etch Champion, the draw. Do you go towards that now if you're Bennett? You've got 2 artifacts, but you do have the ability to activate another. Instead, he's just going to play the grid, pass the turn back, which means this gives Zan kind of a turn off.
I like getting this card on the battlefield because Zaid probably doesn't have that many wear tears in the 75. And he's leaning a lot on 1 toughness. And once it's on the table, all your draw steps are good. Playing your copy of Etch Champion, having it just get killed is not great.
Well, he did have the ability to give it Metalcraft if he wanted to.
Right, but, you know, Zaid could produce 2 removal spells on a turn.
Then that would be an issue.
You know.
Inquisition of Kozak will take care of the Etch Champion. In for 2 comes Saeed, and now we're going to head back over to Bennett. Bennett will draw a card.
Once you have an Aether Grid in play, just all your draw steps are so good.
And most of your deck's artifacts.
Right, I put a premium on just getting it on the table.
There's another artifact in Darksteel Citadel. Inkmoth Nexus. He's going to come in for 2 Infect. A little surprised by that, maybe?
Well, he didn't have enough mana to get rid of the Swift Spear.
Mm-hmm. Wow, Wear Tear the draw.
It's a
Boy,
big
that's
one.
big. Here is Faithless Looting. Going to draw a Faithless Looting and a Lightning Bolt. Will Saeed. I think he can let go of Zealous Persecution now. I think.
I mean, he could get rid of his, you know, are you really on to clutch 2 copies of Faithless Looting?
Probably not. He'll let both of those go. Here comes Swiftspear. Pass the turn back. Bennett will draw a card. It's been another one of those games where Saeed hasn't had a lot of lands to work with. So he's had some difficulties playing multiple spells in a turn. But he still made it work out okay. Here's Springleaf Drum. One there, one there. He wants to try to kill the Swiftspear. Well, Wear Tear is going to kill the grid, and Swiftspear will live, which that's a huge turn.
Yeah, I'm a little surprised there from Bennett. I think I would have just said go.
Just pass.
Just pass. You could respond to a spell next turn if you wanted to, or just take a hit. It's not even like Zaid can really attack with if you have Aether Grid plus Nexus is back on D to activate and pump. Just let him use his mana pretty efficiently there.
Here's Spellskite. Now here's Inkmoth Nexus. It's going to get fired up again. Spellskite will provide the protection.
It's not like Bennett's position's that bad, you know, especially with Spellskite off the top now.
Well, things just got worse, because here's the Zealous Persecution. So that's going to give Zan Saeed's creatures +1/+1. More importantly, that's going to give Ryan Bennett's creatures -1/-1. And now this Infect plan, we're about done with that one.
Yep. Although, I mean, we're kind of in a top decking battle now. I would imagine that Bennett's going to block here with the Spellskite momentarily, and Bolt will trade off, and then you have not much on the other side of the table.
Well, there's Path to Exile off the top there for Zan Saeed. And now it'll be an attack here for 2. Mountain will be the land that Bennett searches up.
Yeah,
Though we are still just in a top decking war, like you mentioned.
We are in a top decking war, but Zaid is fueled by multiple copies of Faithless Looting in the graveyard.
Very true. Very true.
Prowess triggers and, you know, ways to smooth out his draw and dig for Lingering Souls or more removal spells.
So Bennett searched up his mountain from the path. Zan got in for 2 with the Swiftspear. And now we're going to head back over to Ryan Bennett, see what he can draw. He does have some big draws in his deck right now, that's for sure. Edge Champion certainly being one. Cranial Plating, not too bad ever. That's not one of the better ones.
Nice.
Yeah. Ornithopter, and simply pass the turn back. Faithless Looting from the graveyard here from Saeed means that he'll be drawing 2 cards. There'll be a Prowess trigger as well. And he picked up an Inquisition and a Lingering Souls. And I think those are actually the ones that are pretty easy to discard. Don't really need a discard spell right now. Lingering Souls being placed in the graveyard, not that big of a deal. In for 2 comes Saeed with just a Lightning Bolt left in hand.
That was interesting. I think if I was Zaid, I would have gotten rid of the land and the Inquisition and just planned on hard casting the Lingering Souls next turn.
Here comes Blinkmoth. Maybe. I like starting there.
Yeah.
I like starting there. I think that's a really good place to start, is Old Arcbound Ravager. Now here comes Blinkmoth. This is going to allow Bennett to come across for 1. And I don't think Bennett could make a move here with Arcbound Ravager and feel confident about it.
Yeah, with Zaid at 17.
And Lingering Souls in the graveyard?
Just hang back.
Yep. Saeed will sacrifice this Polluted Delta, search up a Sacred Foundry with the fetch line. Going to fall down to 15. You see the life totals here, 15 to 10. With Saeed at 2 infect damage, but again, not sure that's going to come up very much anymore in this particular game. It looks like he elected to get a Blood Crypt instead with his fetch land, instead of a Sacred Foundry.
Which he's not allowed to get.
What's that?
Well,
Oh yeah, not allowed to get. Yeah, not allowed to get Sacred Foundry. Thank you. Here's Lingering Souls. That'll be a Prowess trigger. Two Spirits on the way here for Saeed. Now he's got a 2/3 Swiftspear. He'll come across with that 2/3 Swiftspear. Lightning Bolt in hand. Bennett might be making, okay, I thought he might be making a move. He just says, all right, I'll take it. Didn't get a great look at what Ryan drew, but he's already reaching for mana, so. That's a good draw. That's a good draw. There's the grid.
Now, I mean, Bennett has a lot of control over the shape of the game from here.
Oh, yeah.
Just says go, and Saeed with only one copy of Wear Tear in his 75, so.
The second grid, huge here for Ryan Bennett. Now, Claim to Fame is in hand here for Zan Saeed, and that's a card we'll take a look at. Not one that's got a ton of modern play. I know players were excited about it when it got previewed. And we'll learn a little bit more about it here. Powerful card from Hour of Devastation. So you seize for a single black, return target creature card with converted mana cost 2 or less from your graveyard to the battlefield. That's a sorcery. And you tilt your head with us. Fame for colorless and a red. Aftermath, which means it can only be played from the graveyard. Target creature gets +2/+0 and gains haste until end of turn. So here's Path to Exile and the Arcbound Ravager.
And the thing is, if I'm Bennett, I'm not looking to push too hard on this Arcbound Ravager. One, because there could be another removal spell, and two, because your artifacts might be just more valuable here as food for Gear Part Aether Grid rather than trying to load up on one large creature.
I prefer keeping as many artifacts on the battlefield as possible right now.
Yeah, you just sack Ravager to itself and move to the Ornithopter and just leave up your artifacts.
Yeah,
I think is where I would want to be.
That's what we're going to see. Modular is going to target the Ornithopter. We'll see if that resolves here. But I'm in a similar situation as you. As this is kind of where I want to be. I want to keep as many artifacts as I can, work towards killing that Swift Spear, which is causing me the most problems right now, and then let's work towards Gear Pile Aether to actually help me win this game.
Yep.
It can do it all. So I'm not sure what the hang-up is here. But okay, now Modular is going to go on here, so Ornithopter is now 1-3. And now this looks like it might be a copy of Faithless Looting from the graveyard.
Yeah.
Yep. That's another prowess trigger. Now going to shoot down the Spirit token. So 2 cards. One is a bolt. Excuse me, one is a mountain. Bolt already in hand. This is card number 2. A young Pyromancer.
I would just want to keep the spells. I think they're the best cards in his hand. And they also synergize the best with Swift Spear.
Here comes Swift Spear. 3-power creature. And taking this damage is a little risky, playing a deck that has Lightning Bolt in it.
Jump blocking is a little risky too. And I think the line that Zaid's hoping for here is if Bennett just goes shields down, kill your Swift Spear, then you have Claim to Fame plus Bolt to finish out the game.
Not a bad thing to set up.
Because it looks really attractive from Bennett's side.
Super attractive.
Yeah, just shoot this thing twice. Cool.
This is like the one chance. This is the one chance I get to actually do it.
You have no mana. That's yeah.
Shoot, shoot,
and probably just attack for 1.
Nexus is pretty good though, and no attack at all.
Okay, wow. Love the discipline.
All right.
I guess it's the same point of damage either way, and you
no reason to attack.
You leave a blocker back.
Yep.
Beautiful. I think Zaid was really hoping just for shields down. If he doesn't draw a Nexus there, if he draws, whatever, some random thing, he might go, okay, shoot you, attack for 1, go. And then you have the kill on the way back. Now it's a lot harder. Although you're still drawing to running Bolts or Kolagon's command. You've gotten him low enough.
He's live.
But I think the line that he wanted to set up with Claim to Fame on a Swift Spear or whatever, I think that's cut off for the time being. I mean, you've got time at 15 too.
So here's Claim. Going to get back old Swifty. Went through all that work of killing it, and it's just back on the battlefield now. And he's not sure if he wants to go to Fame or if he wants to go to Terminate. We'll take a look at Claim to Fame one more time here. Make sure we know what the Fame half of this card does. It's going to give +2/+0, and creature gains haste. Now, Swift Spear already has haste, obviously. But casting Fame on it, we can actually give it +3 in the power department. So it's just going to be an attack here for 1. Here's Inkmoth next. It's going to get fired up.
I mean, blocking and getting some infect here would be really nice.
I think I'd love that. Terminate's not going to allow it, though. Yeah, this is interesting here because I don't know if Ryan knows that he needs to block. He's played very conservative. And is this a bolt now on the Ornithopter? Okay, so 3 damage is going to come through. And Bennett's going to fall down to 2.
But now Zaid is empty-handed. But he's bought himself a lot of time here, and he's drawing extremely live at 15.
3 mana. Champ is really good. Yeah. I would slow down, my friend. Champ's a great draw. You don't got to kill that thing now, though.
Yeah, you're good. You're good.
Over to Zan we go. Collective Brutality is a top deck that can win the game. And that's exactly what Zan found on the top of his deck. He needed to find ways to get him. 2 is actually a really magic kind of magic number here.
Yeah, and with the bolt in hand, Zaid has a lot of ways to get him to. He can just cast the bolt. So as long as he takes whatever path to end at 2, it's all the same. And then he's drawing very live.
Yeah, he's got bolts, he's got brutalities, he's got Kolaghan's commands, as you mentioned.
Yep.
And he's got some more card drawing hanging out there too. Lingering Souls can be a game winner. He found one to get the job done, and that was Collective Brutality. So Zan Saeed's going to win this match over Ryan Bennett. 2 games to 1. Mardu Pyromancer going to hang on against Affinity in that